Welcome back, my friends. Hope everyone had a great 4th of July holiday. I'm here with my main man, the IDP tipster. This is Johnny the Greek. How's everybody doing? Gary, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Ready to get into these future bets here.
Right, exactly. So we're coming off the warm up episode we just did. We're going to look at some futures bets now: defensive player of the year, rookie of the year, sacks, combined tackles, all that good stuff.
Yep.
So we got some good stuff for you today. Before we get into, just a quick reminder: these are only suggestions. For help with problem gambling, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Set a limit and stick to it. All right, Gary. First category, sacks. The sacks leader at the end of the year. And full disclosure, I always put down a TJ Watt bet because
Right.
I'm not a huge fan, and if he's going to win it, I want to make money, so that will happen automatically. But beyond that, what do we got? Who's your favorite to have the most sacks at the end of this year?
Right. Yeah. We got another no brainer here in a second to talk about, too. Yeah. Watt's definitely the guy. And I want to mention real quick, we just got done recording the week one early game picks. So you got to check that out. We mentioned about it. And John was on fire last year. But who I'm going to start off with, man, is I love Max Crosby's situation this year. All right. So this dude's been a stud this entire time. He's always been elite for the last 2 to 3 years. He's just coming off 14 and a half sacks. The one thing he hasn't done is he hasn't had is any defensive line worth mentioning with him. So that has totally changed. And we're looking at Christian Wilkinson coming over from Miami, which last year, he kind of had a down year if you kind of look at it from a grading point of view, at least for PFF. From But this guy had 9 sacks of his own. He's had 2 seasons. I think one with 89 total tackles, and then he followed it up with 98 total tackles. All right. So where he really basically kind of backed off last year was he got like 65 tackles, but he increased his sacks to 9. He's got abilities to get pressure, and now you're putting him next to Max Crosby, which is arguably one of the top 2, top 3 kind of guys here, especially for the future. So I think that we're going to get to see Max Crosby at full strength. There's going to be less double teaming on him for the simple fact that they're going to have to get after Wilkinson on the inside because the guy's going to be coming in after him on pass rushing too. And I really like the idea that as a whole, even with Kuntz on the other end, which Malcolm Kuntz towards the last part of last year, see week 9 to the end of the season, he had like a 91 point PFF grade. Now, lo and behold, that's not all, but this is an unknown guy that actually had a nice amount of sacks last year. I think it was like 8, if I remember right. Don't quote me. But we actually have somebody giving pressure off the other side of the line now that Tyree Wilson, the former first rounder, has never been able to do so far. So I really like this year for Max Crosby to get this sacks title this year at plus 1-800 or plus 1-800. Call me. No, at plus 600. We got her.
No, I love it. I'm with you, man. I feel like that's a good one as well for exactly the reasons you laid out. He's finally got some help. They're not going to be able to tee off on him as much. And honestly, if you made a bet on Crosby, Watt, Garrett, or Nick Bosa, you're in the wheelhouse. I could
Yeah.
pretty damn well guarantee one of those 4 guys is going to be the
Right.
sacks leader by the end of the
Right.
year.
Yeah.
So you're looking good, with any of those bets. I like that one as well. I went TJ Watt at plus 450. That's probably the most likely to happen. According to Vegas, it's the most likely to happen, but we do know that he gets injured often. So who knows? I do like the value of Nick Bosa at plus 900. That's a great price for the guy that was the sacks leader, not last year, but at the year before, I believe. So he's got a good shot at it as well. But any of those guys, I think. What do you think about that? Any of those 4, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I just kind of picked my pony with Max Crosby this year. He's knocking on the door. I think that's been the big difference is these other guys have had better players around them. I mean, TJ Watt has had Hayward on the inside. You know, you can't knock too hard on Hargrave up there next to San Fran or next to Boza and San Fran. You know, so all these top guys, Miles Garrett didn't necessarily last year, you know, but he spent a lot of time on the field. He's a beast, and I just don't think we see a repeat. So yeah, I love all those guys actually, man. It's just kind of a no brainer.
Yeah, and you're looking good if you take any of those options. Yep, good price on Crosby as well. All right, so that's likely sacks leader. And then next one, who's going to have the most combined tackles plus assists at the end of this upcoming season? Gary, who's your guy?
All right, so I'm going to go with Roquan Smith, not to go after the obvious Foye Oakland for the fact that Oakland's been killing it now. What's he won for 3 years in a row now?
3 years.
And I have to eat crow, folks. I have to eat crow because I was not going to touch that bet last year for the simple fact is not only is it hard to do what he's been doing, but it's hard to keep repeating what he's doing. So I really didn't think 3 in a row was happening last year. This year, I'm staying neutral. Who I'm going to go with, though, is who I like a little bit of better of a payout is Roquan Smith at plus 900. And I think it's kind of like this dude, since he's entered the league, he has been top 6 every year in tackles. All right. From, not necessarily every time, like it's a lead guy was up at like a 160, 170. He might be in third with 139. I think he had a couple of years at that. Still got him ranked, but he has not got Patrick Queen next to him this year. All right. That is a big adjustment in my mind in his total defense, knowing what this defense was before they paired Roquan Smith and Patrick together. And I see the tendencies going back to what Harbaugh has done for years. And Roquan Smith is going to be that only guy that's going to be the full-time player on the inside linebacker position. I don't think Trenton Simpson, for one, he's above average, I guess you could say, in a little bit of time span that we got to see him in the games. But he doesn't have that experience. And you've got Kyle Hamilton and all these other pieces they've already assembled in that secondary that they actually have not used or been able to use because of injury, used at full force. So I don't see Trenton Simpson coming in and making an impact like what Patrick Queen did this past year. And when you got a guy that's been in the season, he's been knocking on the door, I think he's been third once or twice at that time in the top 6. It's just he's due. So he's going to be my pony up plus 900.
Yep. Yeah. Good point there. And I remember we had a conversation last year. It was one of the off-season guest episodes of IDP Pro Players Pod where we were talking about Myles Garrett and how he was due for I think it was Defensive Player of the Year, and it was a similar situation. Always close, but never quite got it. Well, last year he got it, right? So, and I love what you're saying about Queen not being there anymore. That's huge. That means Roquan's got a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more work to do, and that's a great price, plus 900. That's $1,000 off $100 bet. That's pretty damn good. Yeah, so I like that one as well. I went with Foye. You're right, though. The odds of him getting it the 4th year in a row or whatever are not very good. Probably not going to happen. His price is plus 600. So what I
who am I to judge? I'm not to judge Foye Oakland anymore, man. I've been a fan of his for years. I was just betting, playing the odds. That's all I was doing last year.
Exactly. And I hear you. So I'm going to change my answer here. I'm going to go with Gary's answer. Roquan plus 900 would be my realistic bet. If you want to do like a value bet, Levante David's out there at plus 5,000 without Devin White next to him anymore. So similar kind of setup, much better price. But I'm gonna go with Gary's answer. Roquan Smith.
Oh yeah! By the time the season's over, we could actually hear Levante David being talked about for like Player of the Year. That dude's still a beast, man. I think he's 34 or something. He still looks like he's like 24.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Great option. All righty. Before we get into our next award here, just a quick shout out. Our comprehensive one of a kind 2024 IDP Plus Rookie Guide is here. Get the IDP Plus Rookie Draft Guide right now for $9.99 for a limited time and get updates every Friday as the NFL season draws near. Check the link in the show description to download your copy today. All righty. Next one we've got is so we're looking at, we had a big old list of combined tackles and sacks over under numbers for a ton of players. So we each kind of chose a couple that had good value. Gary, you got the first one here. Who's your, it's sacks over. Who's your guy or under?
Well, I went down through that list and I was really shocked. And I'm going to pivot right back to Christian Wilkinson coming over to the Raiders. Right now, his over, I'm going to take the over 4.4 or 75, excuse me, the 4.75. I'm taking that over at minus 110. Wilkinson's already coming off of a season where he just had 9 sacks. Granted, he's only had a couple sacks for the prior seasons, but this dude being put next to Max Crosby is just going to open up windows. You know, they're going to have to make a decision. And if he's got that kind of prowess from the inside to get 9 tackles as an interior defensive lineman last year, on top of what we already know with his tackle ability and getting into the backfield, I'm going to go with that, man. I mean, I can't see this dude getting less than a half a dozen next year. I think he could almost match this. There's going to be a lot of sack-happy people over in Oakland.
Yeah, they got a great option with Wilkins there, and that's an insane number. Only needing like 4.5 sacks to beat that out. I think that's a slam dunk. So I'm with you on that. Christian Wilkins over 4.47 at minus 110. For my sacks guy, I went with Will Anderson over 8.25. He was, I believe, around 8 sacks last year in his rookie season. So obviously another year of experience. The big thing is Danielle Hunter on the other side now, so you know, he won't be double teamed nearly as often, I would think. So that feels doable. You could also go the reverse of that and take Danielle Hunter's over, since he finally has some help on the other side. Those guys are both in a good position to beat out their sack number. Any thoughts on that one?
Hey, Will Anderson made me a believer. You know how I feel about rookies to begin with, but I mean, yeah, he made me a believer, so I could see this. He's definitely going, you know, heading into his second year. The team's a little bit better across the whole landscape of the defense, in my opinion. So I think he has no problem maybe hitting that double digits, you know, a little bit earlier than people might expect.
Yep. Yes, sir. Some good options there. And then we also did the same thing with combined tackles. We looked at what are the implied combined tackle over under numbers for each option. What are some good values? A lot of them were iffy, but we did find a couple good ones. Who's your first guy for this?
Well, I kind of gravitated towards Fred Warner. I thought his number seemed low off the top. That's kind of how I was scanning this for the low with the better name. I guess you could say the jump start. So I narrowed it down to Fred Warner, though. They got him at 125.5 at negative 110, and I'm going to take the over on that. For the simple fact is, for the last since 2020. Is actually averaged 131 and a half, I believe it was. So in this sense, I think he had a little bit of a down year this past year, considering going how Greenlaw had started out the season until he got hurt. So I think it's a safe bet because you still have the discrepancy between Campbell and Greenlaw over there. Is Greenlaw going to be completely ready? Because he got hurt in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the solid guy. He's been doing it for the last 4 years. We know he's an elite player, and I haven't seen much change. I don't think, other than Kyle Murray maybe having a few more targets in this division, you know, so there's nothing to worry about. I don't think anything's going to change for him.
Yeah.
So give me Fred Warner over the 125.5 total? Let's see, this was combined, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe that's combined. Yep.
Isn't that funny how DraftKings does that? Because they got the player stats and they got the leader stats, and then one they call it combined tackles, and the other one they go ahead and just name it tackles and assists. Same freaking thing, folks. But anyways, this one is under the player stats, and I'm going to go with the negative 110 at the 125 and a half tackles more. Over.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think this is a good one, especially with Greenlaw not being available for a while. Yeah, noticed that as well in that breast cancer classic startup we're doing. Greenlaw was able to get him in like round 21.
Yeah, he's fallen a bit. I mean, what are you going to do with that? And Campbell's good.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep his butt on the bench until I don't know, week 12.
Right.
Something like that.
When they give their veteran back his job?
Yeah. But yeah, good call. And Fred Warner's captain consistency, right? Like that's a solid bet, to begin with. So I'm with you.
Iron Man. I mean, he has gotten nicked up here and there, but he overall he's an Iron Man.
Right. No injury concerns really. Same thing with this guy right here. I'm going to go Levante David over 120.5 combined tackles at minus 110. He's done this the last 2 seasons. He's gone over 120.5 combined tackles in 7 of his 12 total seasons. So he's odds on average to do it anyway. His average is slightly over 130 tackles since 2020. So this feels real good, especially without Devin White there to screw things up. I feel like him and like you said, Winfield are just going to eat this entire season. So that's an easy one.
Oh yeah, I love that one. Actually, that's got to be a. I got to have more faith in the Levante David 120 than I do at the Fred Warner. Even though I love Fred Warner's, I mean Levante David's the picking the cherry off the tree there in this section. So I really like that. The J.K. Britt or something filling in for Devin White. I'm not impressed. So, yeah. And Levante David has been doing it with Devin White next to him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Couple good options there. Before we get into Defensive Player of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year, it's draft season, folks. Get ahead of the game right now with Trophy Smack's gorgeous draft boards, complete with player stickers so deep you couldn't possibly need them all. And for the first time, Trophy Smack has an IDP expansion for all of us defensive football nerds. Check out the link in the show notes to get yours today. All right, let's pick it back up. We're going to look at some rookie interception lines for this season. Full disclosure, there were not a ton of yearly props out already, so we're kind of forced into a corner with this one. But what do you think, Gary? Rookie interception numbers, what do you got?
All right. Well, I'm not a huge rookie guy here, and I thought it was really weird that that's all they had was rookies listed in this category at the moment. But after doing research on each one of them, I think I might have found a ringer because, believe it or not, if you look at, I'm looking at it right now with the sports reference, CFB.com or whatever it is. Do you know the dude only had 2 interceptions his entire college career? and then when you go and you look into the information about what the Saints have got going on right now, he actually kind of come across as a luxury pick because you're getting Lattimore back, and then you got to know the guy. His first name's Paulson. I'm not even going to try to attempt the last name here. All right. So, but he's actually last year he had a hell of a year, and he really stepped up to where they think that he's going to be a really good corner on the outside from Lattimore. That's the way that the tea leaves are reading. And then you also have another kid named Taylor that I won't attempt his first name that. His rookie season 2 years ago, he actually shined. He just had a down year last year. So this is not a clear-cut job for Kool-Aid to begin with. All right. And I personally, as long as Lattimore stays healthy, I don't think Kool-Aid is going to see but maybe a rotational role in some packages for the entire season. Whereas I looked at everybody else, except for I think it was Eugene or DGene or something for Philadelphia was taken in the second. That kid there, I'm not sure if he's going to be a starter or not, but I definitely don't like what I see with Kool-Aid, especially with the idea that he only had 2 interceptions his entire career in college.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, right? So you're taking the under 1.5 at plus 120 for Kool-Aid McKinstry interceptions. And I agree. They've already got Marshawn Lattimore, who ain't going nowhere. That's a locked in starter. Adebo had a pretty good season. He should be okay. Alante Taylor's a good option. So yeah, where does McKinstry even slot in immediately anyway? Maybe down the road he gets
Mhm.
something. So yeah, I'm with you on this. It might be hard just playing time wise for even him to be on the field enough to do this.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I mean, apparently, I think the passes defended wasn't even impressive. I think he had like 9 last
Oh wow.
season. I'm talking about last year. I think it was like 9. So it's not impressive. So anyway, yep, that's my who you got for us, man.
Oh yeah, I've got a total shot in the dark. Full disclosure, I wouldn't make this bet, so you guys shouldn't either. I'm gonna go Kenyon Mitchell over 2.5 interceptions. My thoughts on this are pretty simple. Darius Slay should be on the other side with James Bradbury gone in the draft capital for Mitchell. He should be, a starter pretty much immediately on the other side. People don't want to throw at Darius Slay, so they'll end up throwing at Kenyon Mitchell. That gives them the
Mhm.
opportunity to do this. But there are so many chefs in the kitchen for the Eagles secondary. I just wouldn't touch any of that for now. Let's wait and see how it shakes out.
Well, I do like him as an option. At least in the last 2 seasons, he's had 6 interceptions. So he's down a little bit. Last year had a better 2022, so I'm going to suspect that might have got hurt or something. But yeah, if you're put in that situation as a starter, as a rookie corner, he's going to have so many balls. He's bound to catch one coming out.
Exactly. Yeah, he's going to get
Yeah,
peppered if that's the case. Yep.
and that's a good payday. That's a good number for a payday. I like that plus side bet. I just want to say it.
Oh yeah, we always love the plus side bets.
Yep.
Absolutely. All righty, that takes us to defensive rookie of the year. Who you got for that?
All right. So for Joy, I am actually going to kind of sidestep. I had mixed emotions about what the Rams did when they brought in Jared first, but after going through things, I'm going to go ahead and go with Jared Verse. I think he gets the best opportunity in the end out of all these rookies to start. Now, I know a lot of people are looking at Dallas Turner, which I think is he's the favorite in these odds up there with Minnesota, probably because of Van Winkle. But I'm just not as impressed with him as what I would be with Verse playing a full-time role. Uh, I really believe that he is going to be a good option in helping replace the Aaron Donald production.
Yeah.
There's been some assumption in fantasy, at least, that you can see Michael Hoyt has been sliding down ADP. Now, Michael Hoyt has been around for a while. He's a converted defensive tackle. Him and Ernest Jones are basically the only veterans of this team right now. And they have already stated they are moving Hoyt around. He's not leaving the field. He's going to get more opportunities. But what they're going to do is they're going to use Verse a lot more. And I think we're going to see him get the opportunity to make a lot more plays than what these others, like Chop Robertson and them, I don't see that playing time being there and in solid. As a matter of fact, I would look at Chop Robertson. I don't even think he had very many sacks last year. So I was kind of confused about that. But when it comes down to it, I think the best opportunity for somebody to step up and somebody they have to put in, some of these other rookies might start out slow. I can't picture any of them having to be put in necessarily. So give me a Jared Verse at plus 1100 to win the DROY with Buku snaps. I'm going to say some nice, give me 30 tackles and 8 sacks.
Yeah, I could see that. And opportunity is more than half the battle with IDP, right? And Verse is going to have that for sure. So I like that. That's a great price on him too. I'm with you on that. Yeah, you're right. Turner was the favorite. Latu Letu, who I guess is my pick. I don't know anything about rookies either, so I wouldn't put a lot of weight in this if I were you, listener. All right, let's pick it back up with Defensive Player of the Year. Who you got for this one, Gary?
Oh man, I'm going to finish it the way I started it. And I still love Max Crosby. I think it's his year. I mean, he's just deserving, to me. We also, it's kind of a popularity test, right? Am I correct? So
Yep.
he's going to come out week one, hard out of the gate, and he's just going to apply the pressure. And as long as him and Will can sit there as a tandem and they're both healthy, I think they're both going to have one hell of a year.
Yeah, you're right. He's got the intangibles and the tangibles, right? He's got the talent around him. He's got the talent himself. He's got the playing time. He's got the story too. That shouldn't mean anything for a Defensive Player of the Year, but it will. Being in recovery from alcoholism and all
Great
that.
story.
Like, yeah, great story. Exactly. That plays into his favor. That makes it more likely that he'll get it. So yeah, I'm with you on that. That's a great bet. My guys, I wrote down TJ Watt because that's always a good shot at plus 750. Although for value, I like Danielle Hunter at plus 2,500. Same reasons we've been talking about with him and Will Anderson this entire episode. They both should be a lot better this year. And Hunter, going to a new team and maybe breaking his own sack record or something like that could be enough of a story to get him into consideration. And it's a great price at plus 2,500. But yeah, Crosby or Watt, I think it's 700 and plus 750 are your two best bets.
Yeah, I think that's your top three kind of. I think it boils down to those top three in a lot of categories. I love Hunter. He's overlooked, in this switch. I love that for him. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. And before we get out of here, we just want to mention that we are thrilled to announce our new partnership with your one-stop shop for the best prices in the travel world, Expedia. With plenty of holidays on the horizon, Expedia is the place to make it special for the people in your life. Get 10% or more off of over 100,000 hotels worldwide and 30% off when booking a flight with your accommodations. Check out the link in the show description to get your next adventure planned today. All right, sir. That's what we got. Any parting words or thoughts?
Yeah, that was kind of rough for me on that. So you guys actually have made it this far. I love these bets. Didn't love how I stuttered through it, but hey, we're just getting warmed up here. I can't believe our first show, man. I really felt like I was just hitting a home run, and now I just feel like I fumbled the ball a couple times. So even mixing sports, listen to that shit. Hey, you guys keep coming back. Like, subscribe. We're going to get it done for you again this year. We got IDP prop bets coming up. We got DFS. We got a lot of things online for you. We're getting ready to bring this around, and we're really going to hit it hard in the preseason. So make sure you tune in again this year. It's a whole new ball game, and we're ready to win it.
Yes, sir. Yep, we'll have some good options for you all season long. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Hope you all had a great holiday. We'll catch you next time. Have a good week. Take care. Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.